is up, guys? Welcome back to Overspray. In today's video, we're going to be finally getting back onto the Honda Civic project. So what we're going to be doing in this video, we're going to go ahead and start preparing the roof in order to get painted. Now, as you guys can see, it's starting to develop some surface rust. I haven't really touched the car in weeks. And well, what we're going to be using today in this video is some Eurochem Oxy Stick 2K epoxy primer to go ahead and lay that primer onto the roof. And yeah, so before we go ahead and spray this, we do have to prepare the roof. And well, let's go ahead and get started. So before we go ahead and shoot the epoxy primer, of course, we do have to sheet the car and protect the areas that we won't want to get some primer on. So let's go ahead and do that first. Ooh, that was a lot of sanding. All right, so it kind of got dark on me, but let me show you where I got. So I went ahead and sanded all of this. I tried to get as much under the molding as possible, and both on the back side and on the front where the windshield is. So I try to get as close to the edge as possible under that molding. It's very, very difficult to sand under that molding without pulling the windshield and the rear glass. That is not something I really want to do. But this is pretty much ready for epoxy primer. I do have to go ahead and blow all this off and also clean it up before I do all that. Of course, I didn't get in this edge right here because it's still under the factory paint. So we're just gonna leave it as is on that portion. Really, it doesn't need anything other than a quick scuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly scuff those edges, and yeah, gonna go ahead and spray this epoxy. All right, so the epoxy primer I'm gonna be using is this Eurochem Oxy Stick Standard Epoxy Activator and epoxy primer. These are the two little guys that I'm going to be using. I only got about a quart, but of course it prevents rust, as you guys can see here, and sticks like nails. That's what they advertise. Let's see what else, anything specific we need to know. 77 degrees, 46 hours. Doesn't tell me what tip size to use. So I'm gonna just go ahead and wing it with this one and see if I can lay it down, probably with my 1.8, but if I see that it's just much thicker than what I thought, thinner than what I thought, then I'll just go ahead and bring it down maybe to a 1.6 or a 1.4. But we're gonna go ahead and get this thing ready for epoxy primer, and we'll cut you guys back in a bit. So one thing I also wanted to mention that I forgot, sorry, my hair's a mess right now, is let me show you real quick. Because I've been sanding for so long, the air compressor was actually starting to build up a lot of moisture because the air compressor is getting real hot. And I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Let me get closer. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but my little water trap was filled with water, and you can actually see the water line. Check this out. How much water is actually coming out of the air compressor. So it runs through here and into my filter, and then of course comes out the line and out of the hose. And I was actually starting to blow off the ceiling, the roof of the car, in order to blow off all of that dust. To do that, of course, what I would be doing is any water and contaminants from the air compressor would blow right onto the ceiling of the car, and that's not what you want to do. That could end up with contamination back onto the panel. Not only that, water tends to rust, as you guys all know, and could cause even more problems. So you need a clean air supply. So what I got to do right now is actually I have more filters for that filtration system that I have. You can see here, I got a nice clean one from Motor Guard. There you go, fiber pure, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, so I got to change that filter because I know that thing is probably full of water. And if I go and spray my epoxy primer, it's going to have contaminants in the primer, and yeah, so on and so forth. You guys get the gist. So I need to change that filter out with the new one, and before I actually go to spray this thing. And so once I get that, then I'll blow off the roof, get all that situated, take off all that masking, and then reapply a new plastic, because this one's all full of dust and metal and debris and all and whatnot. And bring the car inside and then spray the epoxy. Alrighty guys, so this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky. So my car does not completely fit, well, it does fit in the garage obviously, but I won't be able to walk around the car. As you guys notice, I got a lot of stuff here on the side and barely any room on this side, so I'm really going to be struggling walking around this car and spraying it on the roof. So what I did was I kind of nosed the car inwards into the garage, not fully all the way. And let me just show you real quick. Look at how much room I actually got. I could barely walk on the side of this thing. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go ahead and close the garage onto this section of the car. And I'm going to be able to basically spray the roof in such a way that the epoxy gets on the roof. Duh. No, but to be honest, it's just going to be very, very tight quarters in this thing. And I kind of expected it to be pretty difficult, but I'm going to do what I can. Honestly, it's going to be, I'm going to put 2 coats of epoxy primer on this thing back to back, and then just let it dry overnight. You could technically spray base over the epoxy, but this thing has a bunch of dents on the roof anyway, so I'm going to have to get to that at a later time. Now, there's 2 ways to do it, and there's really no wrong or right way, but there's an old school way and a more modern way. I was going to put Bondo onto the areas where I have my dents and then go ahead and epoxy over that. But as you guys know, Bondo is very porous and absorbs a lot of moisture and could cause rust to develop there in the spots where I put body filler, right? So I decided to go epoxy first and then do the body filler later, and then go ahead and use a primer surfacer that I got to kind of fill in the remaining parts of the roof. So the epoxy is basically just a protection barrier, if you will. It's not the final primer, but it is the primer that you're going to put on direct metal, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. And well, let me just go ahead and start masking everything. I'm going to go ahead and sheet the car one more time with a clean sheet and get this thing situated so that I can put epoxy primer on it. So let me get that going, and I'll cut you guys back in a bit.
Yeah, what's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please none of the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really bout this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lives all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, ain't ships, red cup, blue strips. New phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big things, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's small change. Yeah, that money talk. If we ain't cool, then cut me off. No breaking news, don't run your mouth. Thought it was the plug, now he running off. Thought it was a plug, now he running off. What you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really bout this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lives all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, ain't ships, red cup, blue strips. New phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Whoa. Don't do that, we the best coming out of BK, I thought you knew that. Step up in the function, all these women like who that. Got me looking like money, yeah, they love me, yeah, true that. Big racks, new bag, new swag, we ain't cutting no slack. Why they mad? Don't do that. See them coming, no mask, 6 feet, move back. How we got it, don't ask, don't do that. Nah, cause they ain't never put us on. Now they wanna come around and see what's going on. Nah, and we don't follow protocols. We some kings like sis, no waterfall, ISO. What What you gon' do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really bout this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lives all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, sink ships, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it.
Do you remember how you held me then? Now you got me reaching out. And do you see you got me falling in more times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you. More times than I can get out. Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, how long do I got to keep you, to keep you? Down in the deep of my mind, I crawl for you and you're always inside. Down in the deep of my mind, trying so hard not to keep you, to keep you.
Alrighty guys, that was the third coat. That's what she's looking like. Is she perfect? Not at all. But is she garage paint job perfect? I would say so. She's getting there, guys. Got a couple dents. I already mentioned those. So I know there's a lot of naysayers out there in the internet world. So I know somebody's gonna put a dislike, or you know, whatever. To be honest, I'm spraying in a garage, guys. So you know, it's not gonna be perfect, but that's the best I could do for now. It's time to clean up and sign off. Alrighty guys, so the third coat is done. We're finally done with the epoxy stage on the Honda Civic project car for the roof of the car, or the ceiling of the car, whatever you want to call it. She looks pretty decent. Like I said, there are some dents and dings and defects, of course, but you know, going to bare metal, I think this is the best choice. Going epoxy primer on bare metal was the best choice. So with that, I ended up taking Oli Oli Paint's suggestion. You guys can check him out on Instagram or TikTok. He suggested just go straight epoxy and then do your body work later on after the epoxy. So I said, you know what, that's a good idea. He's like, yeah, you'll be fine. So I ended up going this route based on his recommendation. So thanks Oli Oli for that. But for the most part, it looks really good. It is a garage, I guess you could say, paint job, or primer job at this point. But it does look good. Of course, it's not perfect. It's got dust. It's got trash in it. But yeah, overall, for a garage painted, primered roof, it looks good. So anyway, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Stay spraying. Catch you guys on the next one.